anticipation.
It's gotta be good.
If I get thrown out, I'll go live with my mom.
Mama, get off the mallet.
Welcome to the Real Estate and Chill podcast, the newest and coolest podcast. So tune in. Two experts discussing the real estate market. Loan officer James Chudley and associate real estate broker Kevin Iglesias. Beware, this is not another boring podcast. This right here is the shit you need to hear, respectfully.
Welcome back to the newest episode of the Real Estate and Chill podcast. I'm your host, James Chowdhury from Cliffco Mortgage, here with
Kevin Iglesias, associate broker. Today in the building, we got two heavy hitter LOs in the building. We got Jason and Rodney.
What up?
Give it up. Yo, this is long overdue.
Yes, sir.
It definitely is.
Tell us about yourself. Who are you guys? Give us a brief introduction.
Go ahead, Jason. You go first, man.
Listen, my name is Jason Stallworth. I'm with United Mortgage. I've been with United Mortgage for about 5 years now. Been in the industry since 2007. So I worked through the first crash in 2008. I'm a real estate investor as well. Own a couple of businesses on the side. I've pretty much been doing the business since 2007. I got into it to really help out my family. My pops, my moms, they went through a crazy situation with their mortgage. I was a banker at Chase, regular banker, wanted to help them out. So I started talking to the mortgage banker at Chase. He taught me the mortgage business. I sat with him every day after work. Once I learned the business, I decided, let me switch over, become a loan officer. I wanted to become a loan officer to help out my family. I went and worked for the company that did my family's loan, learned how they operated, learned the ins and outs. So I had to retreat in, certain people, minorities. And I was like, you know what? I gotta not just help my family, I gotta help my people.
Let's give that a round of applause.
I love that intro.
That's dope.
That's nice.
That's dope. Come on, Ronnie.
Since then, it's just been helping my people.
Yo, Ryan, how are you gonna top that, bro? Come on.
I don't know how to top that.
He's cool, Ryan. He can top everything.
That was one heck of a speech, man. I got acting for me. Basically, I was working retail. Like I said, I worked in T-Mobile. I was really pushing phones, and then I happened to look into mortgages. I was like, let me check this out. So I started working for a broker, helping out as a loan assistant, and then I ended up getting my license, and then I worked at like two other banks, and then when I got to United, where I'm at now, it was free game. Once I get to really see what's in front of me, I started falling in love with just helping people. Like naturally, most people who I do loans with, they always say I'm funny. I always make a joke about it, ease up the stress, because I feel like when you do this loan process, there's a lot of emotions. So it's an up and down roller coaster. So one thing I pride myself on is customer service. Always talking to the client and lighten the blow sometimes, because as you guys know, a lot of deals go left.
Yeah.
And the ones that go left and you close, that's what makes you a good closer. It's not just closing the ones that you close in 15, 20 days. Anybody can do
closing
that.
the tough deals.
The tough deals make the difference.
I agree. I think that the problems that arise are where the experts really come to help. Like if every single deal was easy, then they wouldn't need people like us that get all the difficult deals done. So
listen, if it was easy, everybody'd be a top producer.
100%. And we got a few top producers in the building today, which is amazing. So in terms of getting started in the industry for both of you guys, so you guys came from two different places. You have accomplished a lot, you've accomplished a lot, and you've both accomplished a lot in different areas of the business. The mortgage industry is one, but just other things as well. You're also an investor who, you used to flip houses. You still do, right? You still do that?
I still do it. Actually, I get ready to pick something up in the Bronx in the next couple of weeks. I have a property in Connecticut now, multifamily, but I would say since 2010 is when I got into flipping properties.
Okay.
Just to really, spread my wings out a little bit more. The industry kind of slowed down, business slowed down. So I was like, let me get into flipping properties. So I got into flipping properties. I own a construction company as well. So my guys work on all my jobs. So I have more control of the finance part of it. So flipping properties since 2010, I've flipped over 100 houses. Wow. Since then to now.
Wow. And how long? 10 years?
10, 11 years now. Wow. I've been doing it.
That's awesome.
Started off slow, 2014, 15, things really picked up. Started doing a lot more business. Business slowed down, I would say, around 2020. When 2020 hit, COVID hit, my partner and I, we had a lot of properties. And, we had to manage it. We had to get through it. But thank God we got through it. Was able to sell everything, walked away with, our shirts. And here to survive and moving forward, still flipping properties.
That's awesome. And I remember that we were talking about it, and I remember you wanted to go more full force into the mortgage industry. How long ago? Like what? You said 2020, right? Like when?
Yeah, when COVID hit, I was doing mortgages, but I was doing that and flipping full time.
Yeah, you were like in
I
both
was
places.
juggling both.
Yeah.
You know. So when COVID hit, I was like, you know what? Let me focus more time and energy on the mortgage side now, because obviously with the way the market was going, you know, no one was buying. The inventory was low.
Right.
You know, so construction was shut down, you know, for a while in COVID. So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna focus there. I already had all my properties. They were under construction or either that or on the market.
Right.
So I just had to wait for New York to open up so we could start selling, agents could start showing properties. So I said, let me focus more on the mortgage side of it. That's what I did, and just really just built up my line of business.
So do you think that being in the space of construction and just like flipping homes has helped you be a better loan officer from like learning about like what you're really financing?
I know every aspect of it, from the finance side and the mortgage to the real estate. I know some real estate better than some realtors because I'm a real estate investor. Not only that, I own a construction company. So I know the ins and outs of a house.
Right. And you've been on both sides of the situation multiple times, right?
Right, 100%.
So, that's awesome. So for Rodney, for you, in terms of like what you've done in the past, how long have we known each other? I've known you for like, what, 3 years now probably?
No, it's 4 years, man.
4 years? Damn, that's I've known you for a long time, yeah.
All around the same time.
Yeah.
4 years, yeah.
So one thing that I've seen that you've been doing a lot of is just giving back to your community, like spreading knowledge to your community and kind of just like teaching everybody the importance of like financial literacy and like financial freedom, like through investing, through so many different avenues.
Yeah, so, I mean, one thing I like to do is when I started out, everybody was like, hey, you have to get this A paper, basically 700 credit score, 20% down. Those are your ideal buyers. Yeah, that's true. But in my community, a lot of people don't have that, right? So I had to figure out an equation, what works for them. The average person, you know, who's making 2 people in the house making minimum wage, can you afford the house? Now, when the rates were like, you know, let's say 2.75, whatever I was getting, 3 people on minimum wage can afford a house.
Facts.
Yeah.
And I keyed into that. So I went to a lot of different communities. I do in Yonkers every Saturday, every one Saturday out the month, I do like a free home buyer seminar. And it's a lot of low income communities. But out of that, I do like 10 pre-approvals every time I go up there. And a lot of people, they end up buying houses because there's a lot of people that's walking around right now that are approved for a mortgage. They just don't know it.
Facts.
They don't know
That's
how much
true.
money they need. They don't know how much money to put down. They don't know what closing costs. Once you give them those final numbers and you give them a goal to set in order, hey, you hit this, then I can pre-approve you buy a house. You know, it works with you. The only thing about that system, it takes time to develop. So a lot of my referrals now I get, it's like from 2 years ago. Like, hey, I remember you spoke and we talked. I'm ready to go now. And that's why. You gotta have patience, you know.
But I feel like with what you're doing, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't do that because some people care just about the money. They don't care about helping people. So it's like if somebody took 2 years to get to that point, you know, some people would probably just be like, oh, yeah, they're not qualified. On to the next.
You
like,
gotta remember this though. When you do the work, the money will come. So you gotta focus on doing the work, right? What's the work? Educating the community, educating your people that you can own a home. That's big.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know.
And then you gotta look at referrals is free marketing, right? Yeah. Let me tell you why. So that guy who's so excited, I gave him a 6-month plan, right? He goes to work, tell all his coworkers, so listen, I'm about to buy a house. There's somebody in there that's probably in contract or has a pre-approval. Listen, get a second opinion, call my guy.
Yep.
That's what happens. So I look at it as this. If I give you free game, I give you so much and you feel good and you're excited, you're gonna tell people about me. And that's how I've just been growing my business the last 4 years. Like, that's how my production has doubled every year.
I'm not like, let this be known on like the podcast. I've learned so much from these guys. I remember like in the beginning, you were telling me, I was like, yo, I want to grow my business. I was like, I'm calling realtors. You're like, what about your referrals? I remember you told me this. You were like, call every single person you've closed with, call every person you've spoken with that you've gotten pre-approved and tell them like, just get your name out there because that's also a source too. I remember that. I've learned so much from both of you guys.
I go to my closings. A lot of loan officers don't go. You gotta go to closings.
Gotta go to your closings.
You're gonna see my face. I'm gonna give you a nice bottle of champagne, a nice bottle of wine, and we're gonna interact because I want you to remember that. For us, it's another transaction, right? But for that buyer, that's a moment they'll never forget. I close in my house. They take pictures, and it's emotional fulfillment, and also a very tangible attachment that they can sometimes they're the first person to buy their house. So if you're there and you share that moment with them, they're not gonna forget about you. They actually call me before they call their realtor. Who gave him the house? Listen, talk about loan offer first. All right, and then you send them to the realtor. So that happens because I make the impression with the customer. I work with the person right in front of me.
Yo, you gotta look at the bigger picture, right? The bigger picture is, yo, this is the largest financial transaction that these people are ever gonna make in their life.
And some people it only happens once.
One time, right?
Yeah.
We're guiding them through it as loan officers. Do you understand how much trust they're putting in us?
They're trusting us with everything.
Yeah.
They're trusting us with their financial situation
Yo,
for the
they're
next
putting
30
us
years
on
at
the same
least.
level as their attorney,
Yeah.
right? They're putting us on the same level as their family practitioner. You know, so this is just another lane for them. This is my house. This is my finances. This is the individual that's going to help me achieve this goal. The largest financial transaction they're going to ever make in their life.
Right.
You're very important. You got to treat it that way. You got to give them that respect. A lot of loan officers treat these clients like whatever. Just you're just another number, another commission.
Right.
They feel that in the conversations. So if you approach it where, yo, I'm gonna educate you, yo, you can call me whenever, call me up until 10 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? Call me as early as 7 a.m. Whatever you need, I'm here. Shoot me a text if you got a question.
Yeah.
They reach out to you over the weekend, right? So they're talking to their family. Oh, my cousin wants to buy. Oh, my aunt ran this question by me. What do you guys think? If you're there to answer those questions and make them feel, secure in whatever it is they're asking, letting them know, listen, any question you ask me is not a stupid question.
Right.
When you guide them that way, they're gonna trust you. And then on top of that, listen, I go to a housewarmings.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
That's like a
You gotta
must.
go to
Yeah.
housewarmings.
You meet so many people there, and
I
it's
get
free.
clients like, yo, Jay, I'm having a barbecue next Saturday. You coming? Yo, I'm there.
Yeah, it's
there.
the nicest feeling when they invite you though, because
Yeah.
they know that when they invite you to those things that you did a good job.
Exactly. If they don't invite you, that means you didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
You just literally serviced them.
Or
the
they
wrong
just
way.
forgot about you.
Yeah.
Like, you was not important in the transaction.
You were not important. Yeah, correct. You weren't important in the transaction.
But
So
that's
the
what
key
you-
is to make
that-
yourself important.
It's true. That's where you have to make that relationship go from business to personable, right?
Right.
Because that's where you get the referrals from.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, and then when you're dealing with the realtor, right? That realtor got to trust when you say your loan is good or I'm going to close it, they got to believe you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, right, you're a loan officer. You're really a middle person. You're the liaison between the client and the bank, right? So if you got the underwriter, giving you problems and you got the realtor on your heels and the buyer's upset and the attorney, you got a lot of people mad at you, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make it where, like, okay, this is what the bank wants. If I give this to the client, they're not going to understand it. So what I do, I break things down in layman terms where they can understand.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell them, listen, we need the 1003 done and we need your condition back CEO. Nah,
like, what's that?
they don't understand that.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, just do this, sign this. This is what this is for. And I guide them through the steps, nice and slow. Some people, they can retain like 10 different things to do at once. Some people, you got to give them like 2 a day. Like, oh, yeah, you're almost done. Don't worry. Do some more. And you just guide them through.
Yeah.
You got to really gauge the client, that way you don't get too overwhelmed. It's hard. I know you guys have a problem with scaling, right? Like when you get a lot of clients, how are you going to answer all that? And that's when the scaling comes, and that's when you got to really focus on customer service. You got to pick your poison. What day you want to talk to what customer? How are you going to tell a customer good news? How are you going to tell them bad news? Everything else. So
Yeah.
it's like you're a therapist.
I remember your trick. I won't tell your trick on whenever somebody
You
gets a
can
commitment
tell.
letter.
Go ahead, you can tell.
No, it's like Rodney told me. He's like, yo, every single time you get a commitment letter, call the client, be like, yo, I got bad news.
Yeah.
And then tell them like your loan's approved, and they get all happy and like excited and everything.
Because you got to let them know, like, listen, I work for this. Like, some people, your loan's approved. It's no emotional connection. There's no excitement with it. I always try to get
gotta build that hype up.
Got to build the hype up.
Yeah.
So they understand, like, oh, this guy's really working.
Yeah,
A
no,
lot of
it's
people
true.
are really nervous. How many people went to, apply for a credit card, got denied? Went to a car loan, got denied. So when you're approved for a house, that's a big deal for them. It's a very
But let's touch base on that because I want to get like on a personal level. When I was applying to cards, I was getting denied. But then when I was like, you know what? I don't even know if I can get pre-approved, and I got approved for like a good amount of money. I was like, wait, what? How? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know that I could get approved.
That happens a lot.
But I think that happens in our community where we're just looking to get financing a new car, or let's say, or getting a credit card for whatever purchases, to get fly and get fresh. But we're not looking at the real estate side. Like, if I'm getting denied for these cars, how am I going to get accepted for pre-approval?
Yeah, I know y'all hate this, right? When somebody say, hey, listen, I want to get pre-approved, but I don't want your loan offer to run my credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. For everybody, could you zoom in real quick when I say this, right? If you're saving your credit score to say 799, right? what other purchase can you make bigger than buying a house? I just want to know. Are you buying a jet? You buying a boat? Like, I don't know, but that's what you get your credit right for, a house.
Buy a house.
So why would you say don't run your credit? You want your credit to go down? Like
Every client says it.
every
I know,
client.
They all
Every
do.
client.
I have to remind them.
I want to get pre-approved, but I don't want you to run my credit.
Yo,
That's an oxymoron. Yeah, you can't
You
do
want the bank to give you over $500,000, but we should run your credit.
to see
I
if
don't
you even
understand.
qualify.
Yeah, I don't get that part,
Can't
man.
you just go off my pay stubs? No. I need to see what kind of debt you have and what your credit score is. I need to see how you pay your debt.
I get tired of Credit Karma screenshots, man. That's
Yeah.
what
Yo,
they do.
Credit Karma definitely is not the best way to do it. But I remember that, like, you know, I used to be in a situation where, like, I thought somebody would be like, oh, like, they make a lot of money, like, they do this. Like, I used to think, like, I don't got to run the credit, it's fine. Then I run the credit, they get, like, a 650 credit score, like, they can't go conventional, you got to switch up the deal right away. And, like, you make that mistake once, and then you don't make it again.
Yeah.
Like, that's something
I mean,
I've
there's still
definitely
some
learned.
loan officers that make that mistake every day in this business.
Gotta
There's a
learn
lot
from
of
it.
faulty pre-approvals that I called.
These pre-approvals nowadays, man, it's like, what?
But what's the point of that? I don't understand. I never understood that.
So I guess this is how you look at it, right? If you're looking at W-2, somebody on a salary, right? You say, all right, how much you make? And they say, oh, I make $100,000 a year. So they write that up, and then they say, how many debts you have? Oh, I don't have nothing, no debt. That's what everybody said, no debt.
Yeah.
So it's called what? Pre-qualification.
Yeah, it's a
Pre-qualification.
So when they do that, they say, oh, you based on what you told me, this is what you pre-qualified for. Which doesn't make sense because everybody lies. And some people don't know about that.
Yo, but some people have like car payments that are
Yeah.
like $700. That's gonna
Yeah.
hurt their back
That's
end.
what I'm saying.
Like, there's just so many different things that they don't look at. I mean, sometimes they run their credit, but the income that they get, like they just start a new job, they've been working overtime for like a year and a half, not 2 years. Like
Or
those
they forget to tell
situations.
you they
Like,
co-signed for a car for their brother-in-law.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That payment's like $900 a month.
I mean, I had somebody that got me real good. Like we had great credit, we had good income. You know, they had money in the bank, but they ain't tell me they foreclosed their house a year before.
So with foreclosure, you gotta wait what, like 2-3 years?
2 years, 3 years.
What is
for
it?
FHA.
2 years for
3 years.
FHA,
3 years.
Oh,
for
3
FHA.
3 years FHA,
Yeah.
4 years conventional, right?
correct.
Let me ask you a question. Since you guys are all LOs here, the only thing that you can't foresee is if they owe money to like the IRS and things like that. Like that pops up later in the judgments, or
Yeah, they can order a transcript.
Yeah, on the transcript you can see it, you know, and then on title report if it's a judgment, because judgments don't show up on credit reports.
Yeah.
They used 2 years ago when I got into business, but you would be able to see everything before. Now judgments don't show up on credit reports.
because I've run into deals where we're literally about to close and they're like, "Oh, we got an issue. This guy owes $60,000 in taxes."
Oh, that's if he's self-employed and he got the current year. Sometimes that happens.
Correct.
So they're like, oh, we're on an extension, and that extension ran out. All right, how much do you owe? And they owe $60,000. Now in their mind, they're like, yo, I'll pay this off when I can, but they don't want no open liens for IRS. Cause IRS come, they take everything. They don't care about no bank.
Yep.
And you gotta, like, for self-employed borrowers, like, you gotta ask that question, like, from the beginning. Like, just to make sure, because if you don't account for that and that goes in the contract later on, I mean, obviously there's always things that we can play around with and, like, things we can do
I mean,
to, like,
but you're
work
gonna
around
know
it.
that from jump when you get the tax returns. If you don't have the most recent tax returns, you're gonna ask you, did you file for an extension?
Yeah,
Right? Then you gotta get the paperwork showing that they filed for an extension from the accountant.
yeah.
Right? Then if you don't have that, like, all right, cool, you didn't file for an extension, so now you gotta go ahead and file your taxes.
Yeah.
Now that means, yo, whatever you owe, you're gonna have to set up a payment arrangement with the IRS for what you owe. So you're gonna know that up front from jump if you're doing your job the right
But
way.
it's hard because if you do that, let's say you get that situation between January and April. Now
Yeah, that's different.
they playing the game.
Yeah, that's always makes it more difficult.
Because you already got to
different.
file before April. Now you playing the game. Now you got to
that's-
close it for that certain deadline.
But even with that, like, you got until October, right? So for a current year, when you got until October with your extension, if you close before October, that current year doesn't have to be filed. And on top of that, if they did file in whatever the current tax that they owe, they don't have to pay it.
Yeah.
You just got to show it. This is what's owed. You don't have to pay it.
That makes things a
It's
lot
the,
easier.
it's the previous years before that they owe, you're gonna have to show at least 3 payments. I got a client right now that literally filed his 2020 and 2021 this year. That was like, all right, you went into contract. I said you should wait at least 90 days before you go into contract. Went into contract anyway, been sending contract. I gotta show he made 3 payments on 2020. Well, he owed on 2020 first.
Damn.
You
Yeah.
got to drag it
That's a
out.
lot.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's a lot.
I mean, what I do, man, that's why I talk to the underwriter ASAP. As soon as I get that, hey, listen, how are we going to do this? Because I don't need the back and forth. Once the deal's in, I want to feel comfortable. I want to sleep at night. I want to have no crazy phone calls. So I try to, like, all that we try to do up front.
But like, let me ask you guys this: like, how many deals have you guys submitted that you didn't get approved? Like, you guys do all the work in the beginning. Like it's very rare, very very rare for a deal to go through that does not get approved. I'm assuming.
I'll say this year alone, right? I think it's like 2 deals, but it wasn't off of income. It was because the title was bad. So, title had
But you still got a commitment letter. You didn't get a commitment
Yeah,
letter
I got a
before?
commitment letter.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like from
Oh.
like submission to commitment letter. Like how many deals do you guys get that like
This year?
doesn't get approved?
Nah.
I don't have any.
Yeah, exactly.
My
Like
click-through ratio is like
Yeah.
100%.
literally, like I don't like we know how to do this stuff in the beginning, and then like if we submit a deal, we know that it's going through. Like I mean, it's getting approved at least.
And then you got, the appraisals, man. These appraisals are coming back down now to reality.
Correct.
So you
The
see the
market is
pullback.
shifting.
Yeah.
How you seeing it?
I haven't had any appraisal issues yet, but I was going to ask about that. Like, how does that work now that... So the market shifted when? Let's say May-ish, June?
Probably.
That's
Yeah,
when
the
things
appraisals, when he had
started
that...
June was
yeah.
bad.
That
June
Friday,
was bad for
that
the
Friday
appraisals.
was hell.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Second week of June?
I think something
it
like
was
that.
That Friday was bad. My phone went crazy.
But how do the comps work now? Because usually an appraisal goes 6 months back, but they have to take that into consideration. So, like, what percentage you would say would that affect on prices?
Right now, I'm seeing about 10%.
10%?
Yeah. Some people 20, but I seen a couple short.
That's a good point though, because they do have to go 6 months.
They have to
behind.
go 6 months back. So
That's a good point.
But I think the appraisers are not trying to be that aggressive.
Yeah, they're
as a
slowing down.
potential, where it's gonna go. Like, for instance, last year, if you had a house for like 6 months, you get 50K equity, 40K equity.
Correct.
Now they're not doing that. They're not even pushing it. They're saying, this is where it's gonna sell. The appraisers are even scaling back. They have a fear of like, we can't keep pushing this market the way it's going.
Yeah.
I haven't had appraisal come in like 20, 30K over in a long time.
Yeah, everything's coming in right on contract price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or slightly under.
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, I know you're right. Like every time before, it would be like at the number, a little bit over.
Yeah.
Now it's like, yeah, I get what you guys are saying.
If you just look at the market right now, depending on certain areas, how often are you seeing price reductions?
like, everybody's doing price
That's an
reductions.
indication right
Everybody.
there. The market is shifting back to a buyer's market.
Where would you say we're at now? You think we're normal right now?
No, not yet.
we're not yet.
We're just in the beginning stage of going back to normal.
Yeah.
Just the beginning stage of going back to normal. We're not normal yet.
How often, like, for like you list a house $400,000 in Mastic, right? Like, how long would it take you to get an accepted offer on it?
Like, before things start to shift, it would
No,
be
like
gone.
right now. Right now.
it's like 30, 35 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, another indication is how many days houses on the market.
Yeah, days on
Right.
the market have changed.
Yo,
Yeah.
before it was like 10, 20 days accepted offer. Now, you're starting to see houses on the market 60, 70 days. These are all indications.
I mean, I got a concession on my last.
Yeah, I'm getting concessions right now too.
concessions coming
I'm
back.
getting sellers
boy,
concessions right now.
yeah.
Yo, but I think okay, this is just me, but I feel like sellers concession deals are easier than sourcing funds for the down payment.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it's so. Like some people say, sellers concession deals are harder.
Nah.
I think they're easier, bro. I think
love
they're
them.
so much easier.
I think though
love 'em.
this happen with the seller concession. You have to have the right attorney. If your attorney can draw up the amendment, push it to the seller's attorney, listen, this is what we want, yada yada yada, we're okay. I'm talking about I be getting deals where they don't go in with seller's concession, but the
Yeah.
appraisal come in or something's wrong with the house, they be like, all right, we're gonna give you a break. And
Or the
'cause
source of
Yeah,
funds.
source of funds are not right. And,
yeah.
Like
Yep.
you
need
want to
seller
close.
concession. We got to close.
Yeah.
Anything to get to the closing table, that's the name of the game. Got to
Right.
get to the closing table.
Agreed.
ABC.
I even heard
Always be closing.
some sellers was giving a guy
Like credits.
Yeah, 2% seller's concession about that his rate.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's going on. It's insane because they know like, hey, listen, I'm making my money, but I'm not gonna make as much as I was last year. So let me bow down gracefully and make this transaction work.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah, I've seen that too.
That's interesting though. I mean, that's a good tactic. Buying down the points, buying down the monthly payment.
You do a seminar all the time, right? Fire your landlord.
Yeah.
How did that get started?
It actually got started with 2 people in the Bronx, 2 realtors, Joel Polo and Brianna Savage. Both of them, they came together, and the attorney I work with, Paul Torres, he said, hey, Rodney, you want to go in this? I'm like, yeah. And it's like, we need LO. And we did one thing. It was like a little church, and it was maybe like 20 people there. But after the first one, it just kept going and kept going. And I didn't realize how much information I knew because they start asking you a whole bunch of questions, and you're like, oh, I did this deal. And it's something like I kind of look forward to. You know, you go there, you eat, you know, for the first, 20 minutes, because if somebody's hungry, they're not going to listen to you, right? So you got to fill the people up. So once they're filled up, everybody's good, you get some water, hydrate them, and they start asking questions. But what we did was we went through the whole process from pre-approval, getting your offer accepted, going into contract, and everything I had to do and everything the attorney had to do and the realtor had to do, all the way to close the day. So we give them an idea, a map, basically, of how you buy a house, beginning to end.
It's like the Monopoly board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for you, Stallworth, how do you think the market now is different from, because you started when? You started 4 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years ago. And then you've been in the business since 2007.
Yeah.
So you saw that time, you see this time now. A lot of people are relating this to that. What's the difference between the two?
It's completely different. 2008 was serious. The market seriously crashed. A lot of people lost their homes. If we were gonna see 2008 again, it would have happened during 2020. And the government didn't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
That's why they had, they allowed the banks came out, they allowed everyone to go into,
Forbearance.
forbearance. The forbearance was to stop 2008 from happening all over again.
Yeah.
You gotta realize, the real estate market crashed, the economy's crashing.
Yeah, around the world.
Like,
We're in trouble.
we're done.
Yeah.
So they couldn't let that happen. The government wouldn't let that happen. Why do you think they push out the PPP? They push out the SBA loans. That's why we're in inflation now.
I mean, and the other
We're
part
recouping
is,
money.
what people don't know, if you was a loan officer and you was doing a lot of business during COVID, you had a whole bunch of guidelines. Like,
Correct.
there was very safe loans. Like we were just talking about the other day. Every 5 days, you had to do a VOE to verify
Yeah.
a person's working.
Yeah.
We did not sell bad loans during COVID.
Yeah.
That's
a
the
lot
thing
of
that
people were losing their jobs.
Yes, exactly. And you wasn't not getting a house. They wasn't letting you get a house. That's what we're not understanding. Like,
Yeah, we were doing VOEs, a day before closing?
yeah.
Just to see, a verbal VOE, just to see you're still working.
I did a close and the lady's like, my employer's gonna let me go on Friday. They told me it was my last day. I need to close before Friday.
Damn.
And they close it.
Oh, don't say that, Bank. Don't say that.
I'm not saying the bank. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yo, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Hopefully that mortgage is paid.
Yeah.
You can't name drop
Yeah.
whoever that was.
I'm
not
It wasn't me,
name
I'll tell you that. It was not me.
I ain't snitching out, but I'm just saying, that was crazy. I was just like, yo, what
It is.
the?
It is.
Yo, but think about that. I think it was 2020 when we had a deal going on with Dan O'Neill where he had a listing and then we had that deal with the solar panels and everything. And then the client lost his job. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And that was
But
like,
that was different, though. The guy lost his job.
but he didn't say anything.
Didn't tell me. Didn't tell the attorney. He was embarrassed that he lost his job. Didn't tell us till like a month and a half later. Loses half his down payment. He was gonna lose the whole thing.
Wow. That was
Listen,
bad.
I had a client retire,
Oh, I remember this.
and not say nothing to nobody. Not his daughter who was on the loan with him. No one. The realtor didn't know. The attorney didn't know. We submit the file for a clear to close. We do an updated VOE. Like, yo, he's no longer active. You're like, what?
But how doesn't he know that though?
Yo, he
I'm
bought
like,
the
yo, what
he
you
bought the
talking
house and he
about,
out the game, man. That's the goal. Buy the house and
Called the
retire.
client, like, yo, what the hell is this? He's like, oh, I retired. Like it was nothing. I retired. I was like, bro, you're in the middle of buying a house. You can't just retire. I don't want to work at that job no more. You're going to have to work there until we close. I'm like, so what you're going to have to do is come out of retirement.
Wow.
You got to pull Michael Jordan.
Michael
Yeah. Nah. We got to go back to work. He's like, yo, come on, man. You can't close? I said, no. I said, you're going to lose your $30,000 down payment. He's like, really? I said, yeah. I said, so what you're going to do is go back to HR and be like, I apologize. I was acting prematurely, when I went to retire because he was upset at the employment. So he was like, F that, I'm retiring. So I was like, you're going to go back, get your job back. Once you go back, I need to see the first pay stub. We're good, we can close. Then you can retire. He did
Oh my
it.
gosh.
It took like another 30, 40 days.
Damn,
You get some crazy stories.
I remember you screaming. You're like,
Yo.
what just happened? Like,
Bro, it's
that was the
7
funniest
o'clock
thing.
in the morning, I get an update from underwriter, like, file suspended. It was submitted for a clear to close. I'm like, for what? They sent me a copy of the VOE. employment inactive.
That's sad.
I'm like, yo, what the heck? Yeah, bro.
Well, now at least we're in a market where things are at least getting. I mean, do you guys like the buyer's market more or the seller's market more? Which one do you guys like more?
That's the
Honestly,
foolish question.
The
You-
buyer's
I know.
market, man.
Bro, I love the
Buyer's
buyer's market
market, bro.
so much more.
Yeah.
Even though there's more pre-approvals going out in the seller's market because everyone's trying to buy houses, I feel like it's more work, less conversion because not everyone's getting their houses and everything like that.
Yeah,
So
but
it's like,
I feel like this. Like I had no lie to you. I had some buyers that was on the market for a whole year. Yo, this discouragement they felt was crazy. Like
Yeah.
they putting out offering 50K over, 60K over, and still not getting accepted. So now, when you give them a pre-approval, like you can find a house. But the only problem about the buyer's market is, I'm not gonna lie to you, I seen one realtor, she had 3 offers accepted for this person. We'll find something else. So let me ask you this: you're a realtor. How do you deal with you being so good at your job that it don't take you 13 houses to find a house? You might find it in 3. What do you do?
I do a consultation first because I need to know exactly what they're looking for, their expectations, wants, and needs, and I let them know So I've helped a couple of clients in the past purchase homes. I'm like, this house you're buying right now, it's a steal at the price you're gonna get it. Like this is only gonna go up. You know what I mean? And most buyers don't see it that way. They just see it like, whatever the monthly mortgage is. But I've gotten people locked into where their houses, even before COVID, have skyrocketed in equity, and they're like, they call me and thank me.
What happens when you get Uncle Pete in the ear and he like, listen?
Oh my
gosh, that's the worst.
Listen,
I hate the Uncle
that's okay, but you can get something better.
Yeah.
Keep looking. And you got the offer accepted. What do you do when Uncle Pete does that?
That's tough. That's like when the fathers come for their inspection too.
Exactly, yeah.
You just gotta
That's
remind
different
them.
when the fathers come for an inspection. Though. They're gonna look out for their kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they think they in the market when they bought it.
I know.
Exactly. That's the thing. Is.
Oh, you can get about 10,000 off of that? Yeah, we gonna see that. Yeah, look up under there.
And it's like every little thing that they find is an issue. It's like the house is falling apart.
Yeah.
But you got to remind them, like, look, if this is where you want to be monthly wise and you feel comfortable here and this is the schools that you guys been looking for, what if another house doesn't pop up? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you never know what can happen in the market.
all right, let me ask you guys this. You guys are all parents. You guys all have children. Are you guys going to be those dads that go to the inspection?
You have to. It's your kid.
Yeah, there you go. So what happened? You just said I hate when that happens.
I mean, my daughter's over. It's like, listen, who is your rate? Let me see your loan estimate, bro. Let me see that. I'm gonna have to see the loan estimate. I'm gonna check the market. I'm gonna tell you if you got a good deal. No, he ain't gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
But here's the difference, though. When you got parents that go in there with no knowledge of the
That's true.
industry, it's totally different. Like, we all have knowledge of the industry right here. Like, it's different than just the regular parent going to like, this is
But they
no
think
good.
they do. They think they do have the knowledge. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Thinking and knowledge are two different things.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a client, right? Never forget. I gave him his loan estimate. I gave him a great deal. So he's talking to me, and I hear like clicking on the computer while I'm on the phone with him. And I'm like,
He's shopping.
"Yo, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I have my own engine. I'm typing in your numbers to see if it makes sense." So what do you mean it makes sense? He literally created a Google Doc demo to type in closing costs and fees and title report.
Oh my God.
And out of all the things, it wasn't discount points or rates he was shopping me. He was like, well, I want a better discount on my title insurance. I'm like, I said, what? I said, listen, go talk to the attorney, man. I don't have time for this. And it really was crazy. And the thing about that deal, he waived his mortgage contingency clause. So the appraisal came in like $30K short.
Oh shoot.
You know what? He called me, Rodney, what I'm gonna do? I said, well, won't you go get your Google Docs out now? Now you need my help, right? Now you need my help. And I switched it. I was able to save him 15 grand. And he was so happy. I said, that's why you don't read books and do all this other stuff, because when trouble comes, they don't tell you how to get out of it.
We're the professionals for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, you don't tell your attorney how to do their job, right?
Nah.
You just pay
I
'em,
hate that.
right?
You micromanaged
You
by
don't,
somebody.
you don't tell your doctor how to do their job, right? Hey, doc, that's the wrong medication you're giving me for this little disease I got. No.
Yeah.
Let the professionals do their job.
Honestly, I've had that happen so many times. Like, I've had clients call me like 4 times a day, like literally. Like, I speak to them, but it gets to the point sometimes where it's just like you're on the phone with them, they're talking to you about nonsense forever, and then you just gotta say like, yo, I gotta go. Like, you know what I mean? You can't spend so much time on one person. But like, I hate being in those situations where like they're just like, yo, how's this? What does this look like? And there's also people who just look for problems when there's no problems. Have you guys come across that?
Or either that, they're just very, very nervous. Remember, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. This is their largest financial transaction they're making, right? So they have to put their trust in us 100%. But they're going to question everything if they're not understanding certain things. So you can explain it to them. You may think they got it. Next thing, tomorrow, they're calling you asking you the same question. That just means they didn't understand the way you explained it. So now you got to break it down even further in layman terms so where they can understand it. Sometimes you just got to put it in baby language for them.
Yeah, and then I know he's talking about the suspicious person. Like, say if you got a clean file, right? You know you can close it in less than 30 days. And you say, hey, listen, loans approved, titles in, appraisals in, everything's good. You got money to close, all right, we're going to submit it. That's it. There's no problems. There's always going to be a problem. So that's why I do what I do. When they do get a problem, I be like, hey, listen, I had an email from the underwriter. Are you guys available to talk? I text them that. And they called me. I'm like, are you sitting down? And they were like, yeah, I'm sitting down. It was late on me, Rodney. Your loan's approved. Congratulations. I did my job. And let them know, like, listen, I'm working. But they're so used to bad news that it's inevitable. It's like a little kid falling one time and he always thinks he's going to fall. They got that fear. So I try to make sure I give them bad news and good news. Even when I got bad news, I'm like, you want the good news or bad news? They say, well, what's the bad news? Bad news, you got to pay extra $20,000 for closing. What's the good news? You still going to close. And like I have to break it down to them like that. Like I think as a loan officer, even as a realtor, when you have those tough conversations and it becomes a regular for you, that's when you get good. That's what makes you good.
The key is having the tough conversations.
Yeah.
A lot of loan officers will just avoid it, not pick up their phone, won't answer the realtor, won't answer the attorney. You gotta have the tough conversation.
When certain LOs go ghost, I'm like, yo, I'm calling you like 5-6 times.
Yo,
What's
stop
going on?
doing it. Why you do that? Yo, listen. You say, so you call them like 10 times a day? I had somebody call me 10 times a day. It was so bad that, here's the situation. I'm gonna lay it down to you. We had the contract, let's say June 2nd. We got the loan commitment June 27th. We had all the conditions in. We submitted the loan July 1st. She calls, I want to close tomorrow. I don't care. And she kept calling everybody in the bank. The attorney from the bank had to call her broker, and say, please don't contact no one from this bank. And that's the closing I went to. She did not show up. I was so upset. I was like, why couldn't I see the person who was threatening me? She harassed me. She sent me 35 emails. You would think I went ghost for a reason. It wasn't ghost. It was just the loan is being submitted for clear to close. It has to go through his whole process with QC. She couldn't understand that. She wanted a 3-hour turnaround, and we told her 72 hours. She couldn't take those 3 days. That's what I'm saying to you. Sometimes the loan officer give you what you need to know, and it's not enough.
It's not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that happen all the time too. People just impatient. Like you said, you gotta be patient.
Yeah.
It's just a patience game.
I've had a situation in Texas with, you remember this? This was with you, with Gio and Ernest, and the realtors from a different state, because there was a chain of transactions. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
A whole chain of transactions, both sides calling me every single day, like, yo, can you close tomorrow? I'm like, bro, what? How are we going to close tomorrow?
I don't play around with. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they're already suspect that we're in New York, right? We're back in New York. We don't know their laws out there or whatever, right? So what I do with them, I say, all right, I'm trying to close you in 30 days, but I try to make sure that transaction is perfect, because they don't play. They will take their down payment. They tell the buyer you're going to lose all your money.
Yep.
Your lender, you should pick another lender. They squeeze them. They squeeze them to death. You know. New York is a little bit more lean. I don't care. We're going to get it done. Yeah. But out of state, they don't play.
Extra 30 days.
Yeah, we got extra 30 days. We be all right. Nah, they don't play out of state, man. For real.
But I think there's, a lot we touch base on. Tell us a little bit about what you guys want to do in the future. What are your guys' plans in the business?
Okay. For me.
Oh, wait, before we do that, actually.
Go ahead.
Yo, how does it feel? You bought a house last year. Very nice house. I went there.
Thank you.
How did it feel to get to that point?
Yo, I'm not going to lie to you, right? Last year I closed over 60 transactions, right? While I'm buying my house, the whole process, I became nervous like a home buyer. I don't know why. I kid you not. I was really freaking out, and I'm like, yo, why is it not clear? It don't take that long. And I'm screaming, because I know the process.
It was 72 hours, not 3 hours.
I couldn't understand that, man. I couldn't understand it. And then when I got to the closing, I had to go back and get some more money out of the bank. It was crazy, but it was a surreal feeling. I never thought I'd be able to buy a house, especially the house that I got, and just be able to help my whole family is that was the most surreal situation. And my brother was a realtor on the deal, so it was everybody got paid, and it was just to do that and be one of the first ones to do it in my family, especially on my father's side, is just amazing. It was it was unbelievable. So I had barbecues this summer. I had my family come out, and it was just one of a kind. So, but the emotional part, I was really emotional, man. I kid you not. and I don't really cry, but I cry like a baby. I definitely cry like a
As
It's a
you
baby.
big
should.
accomplishment,
It
man.
No, that's a
So-
huge accomplishment.
Thank you, I appreciate
Hats
that.
off to that.
Yeah.
Stallworth, what are your plans for the future? And then I'm gonna come back to you, Rodney.
Okay.
Plans for the future is really to help more people, get more people in their homes, grow the team. You know, I got a team now, so I'm growing the team, trying to educate my loan officers, teach them how to go out and educate the community, buy more investment properties, grow the portfolio, you know, and just live happily ever after, man.
Buy some more places in Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut, you know, possibly Jersey, maybe Florida, you know. Just looking right now, just trying to see what market is the best market for me to get into. But that's really it.
That's awesome. Rodney?
Me, I got a couple. One is actually to do probably get into real estate development or investment. Like that's something I really want to take my time and do. That's one thing. And the other thing is like I got 3 LOs under me, so I want them to, you know, hit some crazy volume and do deep 6 figures. So it's like I want to take my referrals and branch out and give them to other LOs, make it easier. Because what I went through my first 2 or 3 years, I don't want them to go through that. So I just want to grow their business. That's what I'm focused on really, is growing their business, and hopefully they get to buy their house. Same thing.
Yeah, you can't have a team if your team ain't making money.
Yeah.
You can't be the only one making money. You gotta teach them how to make money too. You know what I'm
Because
saying?
I think, you know, when you get to a certain level of where we at, and you maintain and you know you're doing well, it's being a leader and taking the sacrifice. Because earlier this year, January, February, my business took a hit because I was growing. And I'm going out to events and everything, and I'm giving my referrals, new referrals away to my LOs to let them run their accounts. And that was frustrating because I'm always in control.
Yeah,
So I had to
same
lose
way.
control in order to build. And I'm seeing the benefits of it now. Like, you know, shout out to my guys, Chris, Aaron, and Salah. But that was the hardest part, is losing control. Understanding you're taking a hit, but for the greater good.
Yeah.
And trusting the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So
And you went through that too.
Yeah.
I have not had the pleasure of going through that yet, but hopefully
about
soon.
to.
it's coming.
Hopefully soon. But all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. And even though we're not the same company anymore, I always will remember all the memories you guys taught me and everything like that, all the lessons.
Yo, real quick, this man sold a house to me last year. That was impossible to get sold. With literally, it was a room and board house that I couldn't get the people out of, and this dude still sold it.
Wow.
I remember that.
was
Wait.
a fun house. That was a fun house.
Yeah.
Wait, can I drop? Is that the house that I know about?
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Wait, all right, can I drop this? Can I say this?
Go ahead.
Yo, so I'm on the phone with Kevin. Starworth's on the phone talking about this listing. I'm on the phone with Kevin. I was like, yo, I think Starworth has a listing. Let me go talk to him. And then Starworth was just like, yeah, I got a listing. And I was just like, yo, why don't you hit up Kevin? He was like, why would I hit up Kevin? I was like, yo, take the call, see if he can convince you. But I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you that. I was like, I told Kevin something, I told you something. Because I was like trying to make it work for you guys so you guys could work together on it. And then like, it just worked out. You guys ended up working together on that deal. It worked out perfectly for you guys, so I'm happy about that.
Nah, I told you, I was like, I'm not just gonna give Kevin a listen because I know Kevin.
Yeah, I remember that.
Kevin
I remember
gotta earn
that.
it.
I remember that.
I said, tell him to call me. And if he convinced me, I'll give him the listing. And sure enough, he called me. He convinced me. I gave him the listing. And guess what? He got it sold. It was a tough deal, but yo, you proved yourself.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We done a couple deals.
Yeah.
We did as well,
But you
so.
proved yourself on that one. That one right there was like, okay, Kevin's the real deal.
I'm happy you guys came together on that one.
That was a
Definitely.
tough house.
It was. Definitely a tough house.
I remember you
was a
guys talking about
nightmare.
that. Yo, but it was worse because if I was like in the office or whatever, and then Stallworth was just like, yo, I need Kevin to call me in 10 minutes. I'm like, yo, Kevin, call him in 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah, I was like, yo,
translating.
tell him to call me in 10 minutes. If you don't call me in 10 minutes, you're not getting
You're
it.
not getting it.
But if you call me in 10
You
minutes,
called me though. You're like,
yeah.
yo, because you called me. He was like, yo, I just challenged Stallworth to see if talk to him. I don't think he's gonna give you a listen, but I know you can get him. I'm like, all right, just give me his number.
Yeah.
Good times. That was funny.
But I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Definitely,
we
man.
made it happen.
Definitely, without a doubt.
Nah, a bunch of crazy things coming out for all of us in the next coming years. So I'm excited to see everyone in here, all their growth, including myself. But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you guys for coming on. So anything you guys want to drop your Instagrams too.
The Lone Maestro. What is it? The
Can you spell that?
THE_Lone Maestro.
We'll pop it up.
Pop it up right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it to you guys.
And me, Rodney Lewis. My Instagram is coolrod at coolrod. Instagram. You're gonna see me. It's gonna say the experience. They call me Mr. Customer Service sometimes, you know, because really funny. But I really appreciate, you know, having us, man. It took you a while, but
I know.
Yeah,
This is long overdue.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, probably.
It's
How
good,
long?
though.
Yeah, whenever we started.
I ain't gonna lie. Let me say something though. Yeah, our podcast is really, you know, really lit. Because like I go outside and they be like, yo, you know, Cav, you know, but y'all, I'm like, huh?
James, nobody knows who.
Sorry, James. And I was like, yeah. They was like, yeah, these guys, their podcast. I'm like, oh snap. So like, I really had to catch a couple episodes myself, man. But
I had a couple
appreciate
realtors
it.
like, oh, you work with James, right? So I'm like, yeah. They were like, you must learn a lot from him. I'm like, yeah, I do.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I learn a lot from him. I learn a lot.
Yeah, you're famous, man. You're definitely famous, yo.
I love that.
It's all good though, man.
Nah, but I've learned so much from you guys. So I'm excited to see where you guys go in the next couple of years. And it's been a pleasure working with you guys. And I'm happy you guys came on the show.
Thank
but,
you.
All right. So that was episode, who even knows what episode we're on?
Who knows?
On the Real Estate and Chill podcast.
We hope you guys, we see you guys November 13th.
Oh, they're going to be
Yeah,
there.
I'll be there.
You guys going to
November
be there.
13th, Nassau Coliseum, 1 p.m. It goes down.
Oh, wow.
Be there.
Long
You was
Island
talking
Nets.
trash to me during the
Nah,
game,
nah,
so you was
listen.
like, "Oh yeah, Kev, you want this? You want this?" And I was just like,
Listen,
"Yeah,
man,
yeah."
That was last year, man. Don't worry about it, man. I ain't playing this year.
I remember that.
All right. But that was the latest episode of Real Estate and Chill podcast. We will see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real Estate and Chill podcast with James Chaudhry and Kevin Iglesias. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this with your friends, your enemies, your mother-in-law. No, seriously, this podcast is so fucking good, you might want to tell your ex. See you next time.